Yeah, so I haven't been really talking about this because it's just something that I got to do. So I'm not trying to like make a fucking, the idea of sharing the experience with you guys is like sharing experience with people who are like interested in what I'm doing and like follow me, and just like letting you guys in on like guys and girls in on what it is that's happening with me, right? And how I can talk from experience with a lot of shit that goes on with me. So it's like I had hip surgery 5 years ago to have a hip resurfacing done, which was basically from my right hip was like shit from playing football for so long. I actually hurt my hip during football, and then it just kind of faded away. It came back here and there in my bodybuilding career. But then 5 years ago, it took a massive shit, and they were like, "Oh, you need a hip replacement." But this other doctor that I'm going to see, who's actually doing my surgery again, Dr. Shemich, he's a really good dude. He's like, "You're young. Why don't we try hip resurfacing? Because I don't want to, like, if you get a full hip replacement, we're gonna have to do it over again, and X amount of years, they only last so long, basically." So he's like, "Let's do this, and it's a better option for someone your age and of your activity level." So I did it, and it was great, like no problems. I recovered fine from it. I had like limited range of motion and certain things, but then my motion came back fully, basically. And everything was smooth until maybe like the start of June. And I did a leg workout, and just after the leg workout, the soreness wasn't like leg soreness, there was something else going on. It just felt like something had shifted or something had moved in my hip. So I've been battling this like issue since then, and I met with him again 2 months ago, and he wants me to, basically there's on the head of your femur, which goes into your hip socket and moves around, kind of like on an angle like that. They basically shaved down the head of this femur, put a metal cap on it, put a post into it, so the metal cap looks like this with a post in the middle. This post is supposed to stay at a certain angle relative to the angle of your hip and then your leg going down. It's supposed to be on like an angle and down, right? So it's just a little post that keeps the cap there. That little post is not supposed to move. My post has, I don't know which direction it's gone because I can't tell by the x-ray, but it's literally shifted either this way or shifted bound this way, and has rotated the cap this way. So instead of my cap being here where it's supposed to be, it's here. And this is down, and now my leg's not moving right. So basically this pin is also rubbing on the edge of my, like if it's down here and it's pushing against my femur, it's literally about to burst through if I don't get this shit done, right? So basically they'll take the head of my femur, they're gonna lop off the head, and then they're gonna create a post down into my femur, like down into here. Post will come up into like a little arm with a ball and attachment that will go into my already fake socket, because they're keeping the metal in my socket because there's nothing wrong with it, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking at in less than a week today. So there won't be doing stuff here and there to update you. The only reason why Alora's coming to the hospital is to catch me when I'm high and what I say and what I do. Because if I talk this much shit when I'm fucking sober, imagine what I'm going to be like when I'm on whatever they put me on. But it's just also to document the journey and like make people understand, like, your body only takes so much, and then it's like, fuck you. And that the key to that is listening to your body, especially as you're getting older, especially these guys who maybe even young. Like a guy I trained yesterday, he's like, "Man, I'm having problems with my hip. I'm getting pain and clicking in my hip." And this kid was like in his like late 20s. I'm like, dude, start doing something about that now, because that will not end up well. It's not just gonna fade away. It's not just gonna go away unless you like literally stop moving and become a completely like a couch potato and just sit around and do shit all day. But odds are you're gonna keep lifting, you're gonna keep being active. Do something about that, right? Whether it's PRP or whatever they do for hips or joints to help them like kind of delay the aging process or delay that breakdown process. So it's basically also a service to be like, oh, not everybody that lifts heavy goes through this kind of shit, but there's a good amount of you who will. They're gonna have some type of issue, whether it's a shoulder issue. I have one still. I need to get surgery on this, but who knows when that's happening. So let's deal with the hip first. But it's like all this stuff, it starts to compound like interest in a bank, and it adds up to a shit ton later on in life. So it's like when I tell people like, lower the weight, not to say lower the weight in the sense that like just go light on everything, but like be conscious of how much weight you're pushing. Be conscious of how much strain you're putting on your body, especially when it's undue strain. We don't need to lift that kind of weight to put on the muscle you think. It's just like take heed and kind of look at people like me. I'm 42. I'll be 42 this year. I've gone through two hip replacements. Like one's a resurfacing, one's a real replacement. And my left one's on the way. I can already tell. So that'll probably be within the next 5 to 10 years, depending on how things go with this, right? Because I've drastically lowered my activity level in life in general due to the fact that I know that like I can't put the pounding on my body that I used to. I'm getting older, right? So there's nothing wrong with this stuff. It's just that people need to be aware that it does happen, and you need to be aware if you're in your 20s and you're banging this weights and you're squatting this with this, do all that, but take the precautions to understand that like you need to take care of your body. Because yeah, it feels like I felt when I was squatting fucking 6 plates when I was 25, 24 years old, 26, 27, I wasn't worried about a fucking thing. I get a little twinge in my back or my knee would feel kind of weird for a bit, but I just say, whatever, I'm fucking invincible. Now the thought of taking that weight off and standing with it on my back makes me have an anxiety attack. Because I know what it's gonna do to my body, right? Like there's guys that never walk away, they never change from lifting like that. So those kind of weights they're acclimated to that weight. They're very used to handling that kind of weight. Their body's used to moving it. They've never given it a break. I took a step back from bodybuilding, I didn't lift like that. Like I literally did not lift like that anymore. I came back and I just started lifting seriously again in the last 2 or 3 years and put size back on and just been happy with like aesthetically looking the way I feel like I could look, or the best I could look. So it's like when you're doing all that stuff, just be careful and be aware. There's no one telling you not to do shit, but it's a very real thing when your hip starts going and your like shoulder starts going. Because you guys have to understand, you do all this stuff, and even people see Ronnie, and he's been through all these surgeries. Like, oh, and I don't know Ronnie, so I can't speak for Ronnie, but Ronnie's one of my favorite he's my favorite bodybuilder of all time. I guarantee you he doesn't regret what he does. I'm sure he said he doesn't regret what he did, but I'm sure in the back of his mind, he'd like to share the same message with people. Like, I'm happy with how I am. My life up to this point, I don't regret anything about it. Like, even having to get these surgeries or whatever, I would do the same shit over again. But I would encourage that guys really take care of their bodies and really take inventory of like, how much am I punishing myself? Do I need to pull back a bit to understand that I want to do this for a long time? Because like I'm 41, I could still technically compete if I didn't have all these problems. But I can never compete again now. I have a torn bicep. I have a fucking shoulder that won't lift up to even let me hit a front double. I have a hip that won't cooperate, so I can never train legs heavy again because I'll be fucking up the hardware inside my body that's not mine anymore. It's not meant for these loads, right? It's not happening. So I can be the best I can be, and I can help other people be the best they can be, but like I've come to the conclusion that just this is what it is for me, right? So I want to share this journey or go through this, basically update people about it so that they understand like Mike's not like, I don't view surgery as a negative thing. Of course it's a negative thing, but I'm fucked up, right? So I think it's like, oh man, now I get to play like mad scientist. How quickly can I recover and how much better can I be now that I have like, I'm enhanced with this like fake hip that'll never break again. And I mean, like, so I'm fucked up. And like, I don't get scared for surgery. I'm not fucking apprehensive. I literally like, you'll see me that day, I'm not like worried at all. Like I just pop on the table. It's the easiest thing ever. I go to sleep, I wake up, I'm fixed. I don't think people think that way. They think of it as so scary. It's like, it's the great thing. It's like you go from being in so much pain or having this issue with you, you wake up, and yes, you're in pain because they had to cut you open, they had to do all this stuff, but it's a different pain. And it's a pain that you know will subside and be gone, as opposed to a pain that's always in the back of your mind. Like every day I'm walking around in here, I'm walking around outside, I gotta be conscious because I could take one wrong step, my hip goes out of place, I can't walk. And like, I haven't been showing that on camera because it's just like, it's just what happens. It's not like, oh, poor Mike. It's just like, yeah, but I just have to keep going. Like, I have to keep working. I have to keep training. I'm not going to stop doing that shit. So it's not, and it's also like, there's a lot worse things I could be going through. Having a hip replacement is not the end of the world. I mean, there's people going through a lot worse shit out there. So it's like, I'm going to update people on it just because I think it'll be like interesting for people to see, just because like, my approach to things is a lot different than a lot of people, as you can probably tell just watching this channel. My mentality is different, so kind of show people how it is to be like, to get a surgery and then be driven by it. But you see a lot of pro athletes like that because they understand that if they don't get better soon, they're not going to get a paycheck, right? I just have to get better enough to get back in here and be able to walk around and help people. So I don't have to do anything. I just have to get better, like, so I feel confident on my feet and like moving again. And you know what I mean, like, it's not like this doesn't hinder my life that much. It's not like life or death type shit, right? So
makes sense.
Yeah, it's just it'll be an interesting journey. We'll see how it goes.
See you at the hospital.
Yeah, see you at the hospital.
Hey,
Wow.
what are we doing?
We're gonna do something. We're gonna train today at a new spot.
It's a new
It's called
gym?
the hospital. Gonna get just sick of this right hip that I got, so I'm just gonna go in here and see if they'll fucking take it out for me and give me a new one.
Damn.
So I fucking came
Okay.
prepared though. Hospital attire for a
Wow.
hospital trip.
Those are Gucci.
Yeah, right. I'm not Gucci enough for Gucci. See you soon.
See you soon.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Alive.
How are you doing?
What are we gonna do with those?
Pop them.
Oh my god.
Wow. How's it going?
It's going.
Going?
Apparently I was a problem child in there.
Why? What'd you do?
I ripped this IV out.
Oh, shit.
And I woke up like, they had me in this weird position on my side. And my shoulder was killing me. Like, I woke up like throbbing, and I looked at the guy, and they were still working on me. I'm like, bro, my arm's fucked. And I guess I don't remember. They said I rolled right over onto my back,
What?
and I dislocated my hip. So they had to like throw me back over and like put it back in.
Oh my
All
god.
this crazy stuff. I was like, what the hell?
What the hell?
But then I was like, for the last like 15 minutes, I was like pretty much awake. I could feel them like stapling me. And I told him like, yo, I can feel all this. And he's like, it's okay, it's almost over. Like, it didn't hurt. I just knew what they were doing.
Whoa.
And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I can't. And he's like, it's okay, it's okay. I looked at him like, you need to give me more juice, man. I was like, why am I awake right now? He's like, I gave you as much as I could. I gave you the most I could. I'm like, oh, okay. And I woke up just like, all of a sudden I was just like, oh. I started eating ice chips. Delicious ice chips and water. I told them they need a booster juice in here. I can move my legs already, so that's good.
Wow.
Little bits. The epidural was fun. And then I went to this like had this like vivid
Nina,
dream
to the front desk, please. Your
while they
patient has arrived.
had me on the bed and they put my arm out and they put me on my side. And then they putting stuff in me, and I was trying to talk, but I couldn't talk. I was, but I thought I was saying something. And then I yelled. I was like, ah! Because I couldn't get my word out. And then she's like, and then they're like, we're gonna put you here, whatever, blah blah. And I kept looking, and they were like doing stuff, and I looked over at the guy, and like, it's not working. I'm still awake. He's like, oh, don't worry, give it a minute. I was like,
Oh, out. Just
it went well. He's like, but there was 5 of us wrestling you, trying to get you to calm down because you woke up and you moved so hard you ripped your IV out, and then you flopped onto your back, and we were like, all 5 of us are trying to like push you over, and you're fighting us the whole time. I remember I was like, my shoulder hurt. I was trying to like get my shoulder just like to like reach more, and I was like telling him like my fucking shoulder hurts. Good.
Shameless Starbucks plug.
For a sponsorship.
am your favorite. Mars bars.
What's that?
So I can take a picture of you and your mom in a suit.
So you can what?
Take a picture of you and your mom in a suit.
Is the cup from the town.
About to get shot. I'm coming out.
Do you have anything to say for
So there is an elevator
YouTube?
in the apartment, or you have to do stairs?
Yeah.
this is your chance?
I don't have to do.
Lift heavy, they said. It'll be fun, they said.
No.
Flash to my hip. I wouldn't change a thing, man. I'm telling you, when they like put me on the table, when they put my arm out and they were like getting me ready, they put something in my shit where I saw like a white pyramid with like sand, and I was like, I felt like I was in a desert and I was like walking up to this like white pyramid, sorry, and then I fucking all of a sudden I just snapped out of it. I was in the room and I was like, I'm not asleep. like what? I'm like, this isn't working. Then my mouth wouldn't work. I was like, nah.
Any questions for me?
What is wrong?
Of course.
Come on.
Go hard or go home, you know. Lift
Yeah.
heavy every day, and you too can have a fake hip.
It's wise.
Ding ding ding.
It's wise words.
I'm fucking RoboCop under here. They didn't tell me, but it's just a robotic thing.
Yeah.
But people who have like, if you have hip problems or you feel pain in your hip, or if any type of like clicking or crunching or like no pain even, go deal with that. Because this shit is no fun. Yeah, this is no. Twice in the last 5 years. Just load up the leg press and go for it. It'd be good.
Wow.